That's a separate story. Solis is seen as an opportunity. Then there are the big names. For example, Morgan Rogers, a name that Arsenal mentioned internally several times, a player they love. So Morgan Rogers for sure remains a top target for Arsenal. Not easy? For sure. Expensive? For sure. But Morgan Rogers remains a target for Arsenal. Then, talking about Arsenal wingers, for example, to make you understand how these are all completely different and separate story, Morgan Rogers is kind of top name, big name for the summer transfer window.
What is going on, Gooners? And welcome back to Gunners Talk Daily. The transfer window is open. Arsenal are reigning Premier League champions. And today, Fabrizio Romano has dropped a word that every single Arsenal fan needed to hear. One simple word that tells you everything about where this club's head is at heading into what promises to be one of the most exciting summers in recent memory. That word? Love. Romano says Arsenal love Morgan Rogers, and they are prepared to go big to get him. On top of that, Manchester United have pulled out of the Sandro Tonali race, handing Arsenal a potentially clear run at the Newcastle midfielder. Bradley Barcola's future at PSG is more uncertain than ever. Ayoub Boadi's price is rising by the day after his World Cup heroics, and there is a shock development on Ethan Nwaneri that nobody saw coming. This is an absolutely massive update. Let's get through every single detail. Let's start right here, because this is the headline story of the day and it changes the tone of this entire pursuit significantly. Fabrizio Romano has revealed that Arsenal are huge admirers of Morgan Rogers and remain actively engaged in ongoing discussions over a potential deal. But it is the specific language Romano used that has sent Arsenal social media into overdrive. Arsenal love Rogers, and they are willing to go big in their pursuit. When Fabrizio Romano uses the word love, that is not casual language. That is a deliberate, meaningful choice of words to communicate the depth of Arsenal's desire for this player. This is not a club that is vaguely interested or keeping tabs from a distance. This is a club that has identified Morgan Rogers as a priority target and is pushing hard to make it happen. Romano confirmed that talks remain ongoing with both the players' representatives and Aston Villa as Arsenal continue to explore the conditions of a potential transfer. Two sets of conversations, two tracks running simultaneously. That is how you conduct a serious transfer pursuit. Now let's understand exactly why Arsenal love Rogers so much, because the case for this signing is genuinely compelling. 23 years old, 14 goals, 12 assists in 55 appearances last season as Villa won the Europa League and qualified for the Champions League. Those are elite numbers for an attacking midfielder. Not just good, not just decent, but genuinely elite creative output for a player his age. But beyond the numbers, it is the profile that excites Arteta and Berta so much. Rogers can play as an attacking midfielder, off either wing or in a more advanced role. That tactical versatility across a 60-game season is invaluable. When Arteta needs to change shape, change approach, change intensity, Rogers gives him options that very few players in this price range can offer. Former Arsenal defender Nacho Monreal has already given Rogers a glowing seal of approval, describing him as fantastic and a top player. And Emmanuel Petit was even more direct, saying Arsenal need powerful players, and Rogers fits that bill perfectly. Pace, physical power, and technical quality combined. Petit specifically said Rogers will bring qualities that can be missing sometimes up front for Arsenal. That is a pointed observation from someone who knows this club inside out. Rogers himself has been measured and professional throughout all the speculation, insisting he is not distracted by the transfer talk as he focuses on England's World Cup campaign. He is currently competing with Jude Bellingham for a starting spot in Thomas Tuchel's England side. A strong World Cup from Rogers on one of the biggest stages in world football only increases his value and the urgency for Arsenal to get a deal done before the price goes higher. The obstacle remains Villa's valuation. The Athletic have reported that Villa could demand £100 million for their star asset. That is a significant fee, using the Jack Grealish precedent as their benchmark. Arsenal have not yet publicly committed to matching that figure, but Romano saying Arsenal are prepared to go big is the clearest signal yet that the gap between the two clubs on the fee is closing. Arsenal are not walking away from this one, they are not moving on to alternatives, they are pushing, they are talking, and they love the player. This is the one. Gooners, watch this space very, very closely. Now here is the update that arrived today like a gift, and Arsenal fans should be genuinely excited about what it means. Manchester United have officially pulled out of the race to sign Sandro Tonali. Romano confirmed it. United deemed the Italian too expensive given everything else they are trying to do this summer. They have moved on. And that development hands Arsenal a potentially clear run at one of the most coveted midfielders in the Premier League. Let's recap the Tonali situation fully, because the landscape has genuinely shifted in the last 48 hours. Newcastle United have made Tonali available for transfer. The Magpies failed to qualify for European football last season and are reportedly under financial pressure to comply with regulations after missing out on the top 5 and the Champions League revenue that comes with it. That financial pressure, combined with a player whose agent has been actively pushing for a move to a bigger club, means Tonali is now genuinely available. Newcastle value the 26-year-old in excess of €100 million, approximately £86 million. That is a significant fee. But consider this, Arsenal paid over £100 million for Declan Rice, and that signing has been utterly transformational. If Arteta and Berta believe Tonali can have a similar impact to Rice on their midfield, and there are strong arguments that he can, then the investment makes sense. Tonali first emerged as an Arsenal target during the January transfer window, but nothing materialised at that point. The interest has clearly never gone away. And now with United formally out of the picture, Arsenal potentially have a clear run at a player they have been tracking for months. The quality of Tonali needs no lengthy explanation to Premier League fans. Premier League proven. Italian international, 26 years old, one of the best midfielders in the country when he is at his best. A player who would genuinely elevate the level of Arsenal's midfield alongside Declan Rice. With United gone, Newcastle know Arsenal are one of very few clubs with the financial firepower and the desire to get this done at the required fee. Expect this pursuit to accelerate significantly in the coming days. Right, another enormous update on one of Arsenal's most exciting potential acquisitions this summer. And the news from L'Équipe today has shifted the picture considerably. PSG would not oppose selling Bradley Barcola this summer. That is the key line from L'Équipe's report. Talks over a new contract for the French winger have stalled. His current deal has 2 years remaining, and despite manager Luis Enrique personally wanting to keep Barcola, the club's willingness to sell if a suitable offer arrives changes everything. Now, when a club says they would not oppose a sale, that is not the same as actively pushing a player out, but it is a very different message from "this player is not for sale under any circumstances." PSG are open. The stalled contract talks suggest Barcola himself may be weighing his options. And Arsenal are right there, linked as one of the primary destinations. We know from previous reporting that Barcola could cost around £70 million. For a 22-year-old Champions League winner who featured 49 times for PSG last season and is now in France's World Cup squad, that is genuinely good value in the current market. Liverpool are also admiring Barcola, so Arsenal cannot afford to move slowly here. Think about what Barcola represents for this Arsenal team. The left-sided match winner Arteta has been searching for, a proven winner at the very highest level, the player who was on the other side in Budapest during that Champions League final defeat. Signing him from PSG, the club that beat Arsenal on penalties, would be the most satisfying kind of statement. It would tell every club in Europe that Arsenal are not just rebuilding, they are taking the best from the very clubs they lost to. PSG are open to selling. The contract talks have stalled. Arsenal are linked. This one can happen. Ayoub Boadi. The price is rising and the race is on. The Boadi situation is developing at extraordinary speed, and the update today confirms that Arsenal need to move quickly if they are going to win this one. The 18-year-old Lille midfielder was absolutely sensational in Morocco's World Cup draw with Brazil, so dominant that Casemiro was substituted at half-time after struggling to cope with him. The entire football world is now aware of Boadi, and the consequence of that global attention? His price is going up. Lille valued Boadi at around £60 million before the tournament. Every impressive performance he puts in at this World Cup, and all signs suggest there will be many more, adds to that valuation. By the time the tournament ends, we could be looking at a fee significantly higher than £60 million. Now here is one that has come out of absolutely nowhere today, and it represents a genuine decision point for Arsenal. According to social media reports, Liverpool are keeping a close eye on Arsenal youngster Ethan Nwaneri. The 18-year-old spent the second half of last season on loan at Marseille, but by all accounts it did not go as planned for the teenager, with a troubled spell in France leaving questions about his immediate future. Nwaneri is one of the most extraordinary young talents Arsenal have ever produced, the record for the youngest ever Premier League player, a player who was making first-team appearances at 16 and drawing comparisons to some of the best players in the world, but the Marseille loan was difficult. And now, with Arsenal planning significant attacking reinforcements this summer, including Rodgers, Barcola, Zolis and Krupi potentially all arriving, where does Nwaneri fit into the picture? Will there be regular minutes available for him? Will he be given the chance to develop within the first team setup? Or does he need another loan? And now Liverpool are reportedly watching. If Liverpool come with a genuine bid and the fee is right, Arsenal face a genuinely difficult decision: sell a homegrown academy graduate at a moment where his stock is lower than expected and generate profit, or hold on, back the player and give him the time and environment to fulfill his undeniable potential? Arteta and Berta have a decision to make here, and it is not an easy one. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Does Romano saying Arsenal love Rodgers excite you? Are you backing them to get Barcola too? And what about Tonali now that United are out? Let me know every single thought elsewhere. Right, now here is some genuinely brilliant news that every Arsenal fan needs to hear immediately. Because the Ricardo Calafiori to Real Madrid story, which had been building for the past couple of weeks, is all but dead. Real Madrid manager Jose Mourinho had been keen on signing Calafiori as the final piece of his defensive rebuild at the Bernabeu. Denzel Dumfries and Ibrahima Konate were already expected to join. Calafiori was reportedly next on the list as their new left-back. But here is what has changed everything. Real Madrid have reached a verbal agreement to sign Chelsea's Marc Cucurella instead. An initial fee of £47.4 million has been agreed with around £4.3 million in add-ons, taking the total package to up to £51.7 million. Cucurella is heading to the Santiago Bernabeu after this summer's World Cup. Mourinho gets his left back. And Calafiori is no longer needed by Madrid. And here is the thing. Even if Real had pursued this more aggressively, Arsenal had absolutely no intention of selling. Football.London are clear on this. The Gunners have no intention of selling Calafiori and are under no pressure whatsoever to agree to a sale. He has 3 years remaining on his contract. He is 24 years old. He is a key part of Arteta's plans. Now, let's be honest about the full picture here, because there is nuance. Calafiori's injury record at Arsenal has been a genuine frustration. Since arriving at the Emirates in 2024, he has missed 44 matchday squads for club and country across 9 separate injury problems. 9. That is a concerning pattern for a player so young, and Arteta himself confirmed before the Champions League final that Calafiori had picked up a problem during the week, which meant he could neither start nor come off the bench in Budapest. The truth is, if a truly huge offer had arrived, Arsenal might have been tempted to listen purely because of those injury concerns. But with Real Madrid now sorted with Cucurella, that conversation never needs to happen. Calafiori stays. Arsenal's depth at left-back is maintained, and the club can focus their summer business on the areas that truly need strengthening. Right, let's take stock of the business Arsenal have already conducted since the window opened, because there are already confirmed exits to report. Jakub Kiwior's loan move to Porto has been made permanent, the Portuguese giants paying an initial £14.7 million for the defender, with the fee potentially rising to £19 million with add-ons. Good business, clean exit, money in the bank. The squad is being trimmed and shaped with real purpose and clarity. More exits are coming, and we will get to those in detail shortly. But the message is clear. Arsenal are not waiting around. The window opened Monday, and the business is already being conducted. Jeremy Monga. Talks underway, deal advancing. The Monga situation continues to progress, and Football.London are now confirming what we have been telling you for weeks. Talks are underway between Arsenal and Leicester City over the 16-year-old winger. The The fee is expected to be in the range of £10 to £15 million. Monga is described as highly appreciated by Arsenal, a player they have been closely monitoring and whose personal terms are understood to have already been agreed with. For context on how far this has advanced, Arsenal have also agreed a deal to sign Victor Ojianvuna, who will join in the January window of next season, and Ecuadorian twins Edwin and Holger Quintero are set to join in August 2027 as further evidence of Arsenal's extraordinary commitment to identifying and signing the brightest young talent in world football years in advance. This is what a modern, forward-thinking football club looks like, not just signing players for next season, building the squad of 2027, 2028 and beyond simultaneously. Monga is part of that project. At £10 to £15 million for a player who made 37 senior appearances for Leicester and is already being described as a generational talent, this deal cannot get done fast enough. Bradley Barcola, 70 million. PSG do not want to sell, but fresh update on one of the most exciting transfer stories of the summer, and the details are becoming clearer. Bradley Barcola of PSG Football.London are now reporting that the French winger could cost Arsenal around £70 million, significantly more affordable than some of the other left-wing options being pursued. Barcola scored 13 goals in 49 appearances last season for the Champions League holders and has entered the final 2 years of his contract at the Parc des Princes. Now, here is the key dynamic. PSG do not wish to let Barcola leave. They want to keep him, but and this is crucial, their hand could be forced if a serious offer is submitted. That 2-year contract situation gives PSG a decision to make. Do they sell now for £70 million and reinvest? Or do they risk losing him for a reduced fee or even free in 2 years? Arsenal are understood to be of interest. Liverpool are also in the picture. £70 million for a 22-year-old PSG winger who is still improving. With Arteta's development record with young attacking players, that would be outstanding business, and the clock on Barcola's contract gives Arsenal real leverage here. Morgan Rogers and Eli Jr. Krupi, the expensive targets. Right, let's update the 2 big attacking targets that Arsenal are formally pursuing but which are going to cost serious money. Morgan Rogers of Aston Villa, Football.London. Confirm Arsenal's interest is genuine and ongoing. Villa are under no obligation to sell and want £100 million for the 23-year-old. Arsenal are not yet prepared to match that fee, but the player's preference for Arsenal over United and Bayern Munich gives the Gunners a significant advantage in negotiations. This one will take time, but the desire from all the right parties is there. Both Rogers and Krupi, if signed, would represent genuinely transformational additions to Arsenal's attack. The fees are large, but the quality is undeniable. Arteta and Berta are working on both. Christos Tzolis, the first incoming. We covered this in detail in our last video, but let's quickly reconfirm the Tzolis situation because it remains very much live. Both David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano confirmed that Arsenal have made an initial approach to sign Club Brugge's Christos Tzolis. 24 years old, 22 goals, 29 assists last season, around £34 to £35 million. A deal that does not impact any of Arsenal's other attacking targets. It sits alongside and complementary to the Rogers, Barcola and Krupi pursuits. This could well be the first officially announced incoming of Arsenal's summer.